Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Black Anonymous Reviews and Theories. And today, I'm going to be speaking about Tyler Perry, the producer, the writer, the director, the studio owner, and about his response to criticisms about his films. Now, I'm going to start off by saying I stopped watching Tyler Perry's films after Acrimony due to the quality, and I saw from that point on that it was going to go downhill from then on. Well, what do you know? I had a Negrodamus movie, but I haven't seen any of his recent films since then. So I'm going to have different YouTubers, video reviewers state their opinions about these two films or any other films that they saw. And I will provide a chapter segment of about 4 parts, maybe 5, into his problems, criticism, the cult of yes men, the black stereotypes, God and philanthropy equals cover. And towards the end, I'm going to talk about investing in other creatives, producers, writers, and how also doing collaborations with other mediums that can push the Black community further and actually have a Black Hollywood. It's going to go a little bit into some pro-Blackness here, but it is what it is. So here we go.
Your whole idea of Madea disrespects all of the great Black Madeas in history. You have completely destroyed the idea of a Black older matriarch in the family. You have turned it into funny meme content for white people to consume.
Now, I get what the King of Reed was saying about the grandmother, the matriarch of the Black community, and how he has turned that figure into a caricature. Now, I had a grandmother. She was from Tupelo, Mississippi. She died in 2019. My grandma was never like that. And I get it if anybody wants to know. I watched his documentary called Maxine's Baby. And you can learn a lot about Tyler Perry in that documentary. Yeah, how he was raised and how he grew up plays a large part into his decision making and his hard headedness. Long story short, go watch the documentary. The hard headedness is due to his father, or the guy who isn't his father. It's a complicated story, but yeah, a lot of that plays into who he is. The Black man being so aggressive and abusive. Yeah, all you gotta do is go to that documentary. You'll understand everything about him in general. But Madea is modeled after his grandmother and his aunt, and it is in a hella exaggeration, because from what is said, from what was told in the documentary, his aunt and his grandma didn't play. A little bit, he was being abused by his father, but isn't his father. Long story short, Want to know where the gun comes from? That comes from his grandmother and his aunt. One of the two. He beat him so bad he had went to one of their houses. They took their pistol and went to go pop him, his father. So I suggest you go check out that documentary. But that's not how grandmothers are. I remember, all me and my cousins, we all go spend the night at grandma's house. It'll be Thanksgiving, the night before, well, the day before Thanksgiving, day before Christmas, when it was at her house, and just stay over for New Year's, all the way to New Year's. And the image you see on the screen there, that's how most of us foundational Black Americans know about our grandmothers, the matriarchs, of the family. That's how most of us grew up with our grandmother, with our cousins, our second cousins and third cousins, and our cousins in them. They ain't our cousins, but they our mothers, friends, children, but they like family. So you get what I'm saying? So yeah, he made that into a caricature, a minstrel show, and really hasn't delved into what you see on your screen right now. Now, I don't know about his plays. If he did that in the plays, I'm not sure. His earlier films, I'll say this. When I saw Diary of a Mad Black Woman with my girlfriend, I would not see another Tyler Perry film because I did not like how that went down. But that's just me. But again, the King of Reed is correct on this. 100%. Now, I don't know too much about who Tyler Perry has around him, but I'm pretty sure it's a bunch of yes men for the quality to be that low. I mean, case in point, Fall from Grace. You got people eating air. You got bad wigs. You got microphones popping up from the bottom of the screen. And then on top of that, you need to go check out an interview that he did with the main lead actress in Fall from Grace and how she was asked about, the hair. And this man literally sitting there being passive aggressive with this woman talking about, well, you got to get your hair done. You got to get it done before you get on set. That's not really my problem, et cetera, et cetera. That's the general gist of it. And she went back at him with it too, on some passive aggressive nonsense. But bro, you ain't got to be like that. There's a reason why people criticize you the way they criticize you. All right, now this chapter, I'm going to be using clips from other YouTube reviewers of Mr. Tyler Perry's movies. And I also have a review interview from my sister who has seen his films. And this is an honest review, honest opinion from her. So enjoy.
And that is creating feature-length movies. Like, you would think coming from a play circuit, he would probably go straight to DVD or made-for-TV movies. But no, these were actually major feature-length films grossing millions of dollars. I think you might see it a little bit more these days, but back then it was very rare for a Black man to basically put his own money behind this, behind the studio, behind the movies, to be able to put it out in major theaters for major releases. And so Black people came out in droves to support. Now
this is to give my opinion on Tyler Perry's movies. I appreciate what he's been doing for the Black actors in Hollywood, giving them opportunities, as a lot of opportunities don't exist in Hollywood, if you know what I mean. However, I have some opinions on his writing, the storylines, and some of the acting. He gets good actors. However, the storylines are not that good. So when the storylines aren't that good, the acting isn't that good. He sticks to just pretty much him doing the storylines, and that's not gonna be beneficial to him if he wants to last long. He needs to have more writers in the room. I was talking to my brother about that, and I get it. I understand he does need to have more writers in the room if he's the only one who's writing the stories. It's just coming from his general point of view. This last movie that he had, Divorce in the Black. It was an okay movie with good actors, except for one, Corey Hardick. He needs to be more believable. He needs to have more experience. But again, that's what Tyler Perry does, gives people, opportunities to get more experience. Some of the action was not in the best best light. He had Richard Lawson, and I can't remember the lady's name, but she played in All My Children as Angie. But anyway, although they're seasoned actors, again, because the storyline wasn't that great, the acting wasn't great. There would needed to be a lot of more consistency within the storylines. It was jumping around too much. I understand that there's edits that has to be done, but when there's too many things that are left untold or skipped over and you're jumping from one scene to something totally different, it's kind of hard to keep track. So, and that tends to happen in most of his movies. It's just the actors, the storylines are just not believable. Like the movie he did with where he was that Alex Cross. That's the movie. That's not him. That storyline, that just goes to show you, when you have a certain storyline, you have to have certain actors. When you have certain actors, they got to be of a certain level or a certain caliber. And the storyline has to be consistent. I can't express that enough. So that's just my opinion on Tyler Perry. And I don't know if we want to talk personal stuff, but I do believe his personal things that he's gone through, or that he says he's gone through and has experienced, has a lot to do with some of the stories that he, creates. A lot of things comes from what he feels, Black people want to see. So if he wants to do that, he needs to have more writers than just himself, so it can be more diverse and be more honest and genuine and be more about what Black people want to see or really are, and not the stereotypes. Again, storyline, the acting, it all comes in full circle. So Megan Good was good. That's funny, but she was good, but her part wasn't what it needed to be, again, for her type of acting skills. So I don't know, but that's just my opinion.
Nice, light-skinned, fine-looking man. Of course, right? Now, eventually, Megan ends up with him. She starts dating him. She's, at first she doesn't want to be with him, but eventually she falls for him. And when she does, it just, again, it was so this movie was 2 hours, but it just felt, what is going on? Like, they're at like a carnival, and then all of a sudden they're in the back of the truck, and there's this music playing, and it's like all serious.
We pass in the hall, separate rooms.
And it's just like, how do we go from this to that? Like, is this the same movie? Is this the same character? But the scene, the way it was shot, it was beautiful, but it was very choppy. Very choppy. Who was ever doing the camera work? It was very choppy. It was like, they're in the truck, in the country, in the trees at night, and then she's drinking the liquor, and then she's like, make love to me. Wait a minute. Whoa, wait, calm down. What is going on?
If you're looking for something good to watch, don't watch this. Bypass this BS, okay? If you don't listen to anything else I say, do not allow anyone, and I mean anyone, to convince you this movie was good. It was awful, okay? Trash. 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 I feel like when Tyler Perry sit down to write movies, he say, what's the worst shit I can come up with? Okay, let's do that. I'll give the acting a C. I'll give the cinematography a C. And baby, I'll give the writing a D-. Like, overall, I'll give this show a B+. I couldn't even make it through the whole movie. Like, if you made it through the whole 2 hours of this movie, baby, you a real trooper, okay?
Listen, I don't gotta watch the new Tyler Perry movie because I know I done seen it 10 times already before. He makes the same movie. He does not stray away from the plot. I'm not understanding why y'all are so shocked. It's a single mother who's broke and behind on her bills, or it's a career-driven woman that's succeeding in her career and her fucking husband hates her. And he always come from this evil-ass family with this evil-ass mama. And somewhere down the line, she has this come-to-Jesus moment where she reconnects with her long-lost best friend who professes his love to her. And in some kind of tragic-ass accident, the best friend ends up in a coma for the next 3 weeks. And then we find out the ex-husband and his diabolical, crazy-ass family orchestrated the whole thing. Miraculously, the long-lost best friend ended up waking up out of his coma, blah, 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 blah. They end up living happily ever after again. He never strays away from the fucking plot. So I'm not seeing why are y'all surprised that it's bad. It's always going to be bad. It's Tyler Perry.
Today I'm going to talk to you guys about why I hate Tyler Perry.
This is not to negate all the good that he's done in the black community. I just have strong opinions that I want to share.
I've already touched on my issue with his portrayal of black men, and I will be doing a long form video on that full of evidence. I just don't have it done yet. Next, I want to touch on Madea. Why is it that black men find it so funny to dress up as caricatures of black women? It's just strange to me. We're on the topic of black women. Why is it that his protagonists always have to suffer so deeply? Like, constantly going through trauma and agonizing pain in his films. Like, shit, can black women get a break? Lastly, I want to touch on when he boasted about not having a writer's room and writing all his scripts himself. Quite frankly, if he did have a writer's room where he was putting on young black writers, his work wouldn't be packed with so many stereotypes, and it wouldn't be so shitty. Those fresh minds would bring amazing ideas that would elevate his work.
At what point do we say enough is enough, Tyler Perry? At what point do we say we will not watch these films anymore until you hire some writers?
What the fuck is this? Like, really, Tyler Perry? How do you have a $1 billion production company, a whole fucking studio lot, and this is the type of shit that you are making?
I'm tired of the same stereotypes. I'm tired of the gospel interludes. I'm tired. I'm exhausted.
Such a shame to see this man who, like, is so capable of doing so great, just not doing it.
For all of us who love you, who are pulling for you, who want you to have success, okay? You have to have a writer's room because I can't give you another 2 hours. I simply cannot give you another 2 hours.
There's a conversation that's been happening with Tyler Perry specifically that has now been brought up again with the release of this movie, but it's literally been talked about at least for the past 5 years about the subject matter in Tyler Perry films. Tyler Perry has a tendency to promote the same type of storyline in his films. Not all of them. I know people love to say that all his movies have one certain plot line, but it's not all of them. Some of them actually have been very, very good and also very diverse in the storytelling. But then you have quite a few of them that all kind of follow that same path. The particular plot line that people have been picking up in a lot of his films is the story of a black woman who is being abused in some way. Someone is getting abused. In almost every single one of his movies, someone is getting abused. And then you have like the slight variations of it where it's like you'll have, you know, a single mother raising her kids on her own, and or you'll have the black woman that gets with the very rich man. The man abuses her and then she ends up leaving him for, you know, an everyday guy, the quote unquote, you know, bus driver or the everyday working man, and she's treated much better. And although there are stories out there like that, there's plenty of them out there that are like that, and it does indeed happen in real life. When you
Now, in this chapter, chapter 4, we're going to talk about God and philanthropy. And I'm going to speak in it in the terms of how he puts it. You can't use God as a cover every time, brother. You can't use your philanthropy as a cover or your bad quality. You do a lot for black actors. You do a lot for the black community. And some may disagree with that. They have other opinions. I don't know. I don't live in Atlanta. But from the outside looking in, you look like you do a lot for the black community and black actors. You can't hide behind that. That's plain and simple. And saying God put you in this place. Hold on. Let me recite what he said. No, 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 no. You got to drown all that out. Because if you let somebody talk you out of a place that God has put you in, you're going to find yourself in hell. He asserted. I know for a fact that what I'm doing is exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. Because for everyone who is a critic, I have thousands of what used to be emails from people saying, this changed my life. Oh my God, you know me. Oh my God, you saved me. How did you know this about my life and my family? That is what is important to me. Really, nigga? He continued, a large portion of my fans are disenfranchised who cannot get in a Volvo and go to therapy on the weekends. So you've got this highbrow Negro who is all up in the air with his nose up looking at everything. Then you got people like where I come from and me who are grinders, who really know what it's like, whose mothers were caregivers for white kids, who are maids, housekeepers, beauticians. Don't discount these people and say their stories don't matter. Who are you to be able to say which black stories is important or should be told? Get out of here with that bullshit. Now, that's how he takes criticism from his so-called audience that he caters to. I just showed examples of a few. And one of my own relative who goes to see it, she goes to see it or it's streaming, whichever one. But she watches his films. Everybody Can't be a high brow Negro with their nose up in the air. It's impossible, bruh. Your audience give you criticism because they care. They care about the stories. They care about what is presented to them. And they have opinions and critiques. You can't just have one side. It's impossible. Because after a while, well, let's get into chapter 5. Now, as we're nearing the end of this video, and thank you for sticking around if you made it this far. When it comes to investing in other creatives and studios, one, he needs a writer's room. He cannot, how can I say this? You cannot teach other writers your style. You have to have other people come in with different writing styles. You have to have people come in who know how to do action scenes properly. You are not in your play days, brother. Those days are over. You are, quote unquote, a billionaire. You have your own studio. You have your own backlots. Do you understand what the possibilities could be if, say, case in point, Just Hilarious was on Hot 97 speaking to one of the cast members from In Living Color? Now, granted, and I said this from the start, you shouldn't need somebody to start a reboot of In Living Color. If a bunch of comedians want to get that started, y'all got enough money to pull that together on some grassroots level and get that popping. And that's where Tyler Perry comes in. For example, his studio and his backlots. Now, granted, they get the money together. They can pay him a portion for using the studio in the backlots. When they broadcast the episodes, he can get another percentage of that on the back end, and they can work it out. I'm not too good in finances when it comes to that, but I'm pretty sure they can work that out. And he still can make his money while still leasing or renting out his studio like he does to Hollywood. Case in point, Black Panther was filmed there. So if you do it for Marvel, you can do that for other people. Or for instance, like let's say Milestone Comics and DC Studios. You can partner up with them, just like how New Line Cinema Studios, and Armin Ra, which is Wesley Snipes, got together with Marvel to make Blade. You guys can do the same thing. There's an example right there of that, how that got done. So you can propel the quote unquote Black Hollywood that I know doesn't exist, because you can check out on YouTube, Tariq Radio. It's called Isaiah Thomas was on it. Ism Radio. And Isaiah Thomas, when they were cool at the time, on as a guest. And he asked him about Black Hollywood. And Isaiah responded in a perfectly good manner. And the response is, there is no Black Hollywood. If there was a Black Hollywood, we wouldn't be going through what we're going through as Black people in Hollywood. That was a mic drop right there. Not too many people, him, Bree, or Little Bit had anything to say about that. I forget her name. I call her Little Bit because she's a little lady. But yeah. And he could propel that. Like, you could jump on the superhero wave. You still got a few carts to jump on before that train leaves. You can do, look here, Milestone Comics been wanting to get a live action Static Shock done for many years. There's an opportunity right there to get a Black superhero done the correct way without any interference, and people can get paid in the same token. If that's what it really is about, money, you ain't got to worry about that. That's going to hit like Black Panther, trust me. I'm a comic book fan, so I know. And that's all I have to say about that. But the conclusion to this is, as you can see, the many critiques and complaints that people had in the many videos that I showed. This is a cautionary tale to Tyler Perry. Keep ignoring your audience. Keep giving them what you want to give them and not the quality that they deserve because they stuck with you for this long. Soon, people will stop going to the movie theaters or watching it on stream. And that even goes for the hate watch because people already expect the normal. So why even watch it? And then that's going to put you in a precarious position to where you're going to start having to lease that whole studio out to Hollywood, and you will end up being a slave to them no matter what. And that's just my prediction. Hopefully this won't be a Negrodamus moment, but who knows? Until then, Black Anonymous, I'm out. Peace.